Hello, this is Lonnie Stark of Stark Silver Creek, and we're here with Rob Melrose, Artistic Director of Cutting Ball Theater in residence at Exit on Taylor. Thank you for your time. It's been a busy 10th season here, and I wanted to spend some time talking about Cutting Ball Theater and your latest production, Crapp's Last Tape. So tell us a little about Crapp's Last Tape. This was something that debuted last season, which was so popular you decided to bring it back again.
Yes, exactly. It's a really, really interesting play. It's by Samuel Beckett, who wrote Waiting for Godot and Endgame. And the thing I like about it and tell people is so interesting. The tape recorder had just been invented, recently when he wrote the play, and that's why he sets it in the future, because the play is about a 69-year-old man who, it's his 69th birthday, and he's going to make a tape of talking about all his reflections over the year. But before he does that, he decides to listen to the tape he made when he was 39. And on the tape that he's listening to, the 39-year-old has just listened to the tape he made when he was 29. And so you kind of get these looks at this one man at three different time periods. So it's a really interesting way of looking at an entire life in a compacted amount of time. It's only 45 minutes long.
Why did you initially choose this piece to work on? What was it about it that you thought would be interesting for you personally and for the audience that comes to watch it?
Well, I'm a big fan of Beckett's. I love his work. I think there's something his work is very funny, and it's also very poignant. And this play, especially, if you can see in our theater is just a 70-seat theater. So one thing we really have going for us is intimacy.
Yes.
And so, like someone who saw it last night said, I loved it that I could smell the banana that he was peeling, and that I could, hear his breathing. We can do things that are very personal, very small, very intimate, that other larger theaters can't do. And this play is just made for an intimate space. And it's just the actor Paul Guerrier, who plays Crap, is almost like a film actor. It isn't about big gestures and big
Broadway,
big Broadway kind of things. It's very subtle. I mean, a lot of what's interesting about the play is watching him listen to himself 30 years ago and his reactions to himself. And it's very, very subtle, but it works really well in this theater.
How would you reflect on your career?
Oh, that's great. That's a great question.
If you were listening to a tape or a recording,
no, that's a good question. It's a good question, especially in terms of my work on Beckett, because when I was young, I loved the paintings of Salvador Dali and Rene Magritte. I love surrealist, kind of really wild, crazy paintings. And one of the reasons I liked Samuel Beckett is because I kind of thought of him as the playwright equivalent of that. My role as a director is to ground it in a reality and make it feel real for the audience. And that the more I can make it feel like a real experience for the audience, the more touching it is, the more funny it is. But I directed Endgame twice. So I directed it in my 20s and I directed it in my 30s. Right. And the two productions were completely different. One was kind of like a big cartoon show, and the other was a very intimate production that was set in a San Francisco Victorian that was falling down, and it was very, very, very realistic and very much like San Francisco.
What other productions are you working on right now? You've heard from Amy that you're really busy, right?
Yes, it's true. I just finished doing a production of An Accident, the world premiere of An Accident at the Magic Theater by Lydia Strike, and that was a great experience. And I was just the public theater's artist in residence at Stanford University. And I spent 2 months there developing a production of Shakespeare's Troilus and Cressida, and so that was very exciting. And now I am, after Crapp's Last Tape, I'm going to go to North Carolina to remount Happy Days, which is a production I did at the Guthrie Theater, and that's another Beckett play. It has a lot in common with Krapp's Last Tape. Happy Days is a woman alone, and she's buried up to her waist in dirt and earth. Her husband is kind of reading a newspaper behind her, but it's mainly a big monologue from this one woman.
Sounds like my life history.
Yeah.
This being the 10th season of Cutting Ball, was there a particular theme, or did you spend extra time to choose what was going to mark a decade of this theater's history?
We started the season with The Bald Soprano by Eugene Ionesco, and we did a new translation of it. I translated it, and it was a really well-received production. It got 6 Bay Area Theater Critics Circle nominations, which was really exciting.
Who's counting?
It broke box office records, and then it led to our next production, which was something we've been working on for 3 years, which is Marcus Gardley's play "And Jesus Moonwalks the Mississippi." We've been working on it for a long time because it's an enormous production. It was 14 actors. There was singing, dancing. We're doing a 3-person version of The Tempest. So we're taking Shakespeare's The Tempest, and we're having 3 actors who are going to double and triple and sometimes quadruple as all the other actors. And it's a very magical play, and in some ways it'll be really fantastic to have it all being created by 3 actors, so that'll be part of the magic.
Wow.
And she wrote a wonderful piece called Diadem, and I know it well because I worked on it for 4 weeks before we decided we had to postpone it next year, but I'm really excited that it's in next year's season. And then we're doing 3 short plays by Will Eno, and he wrote Tom Paine, which was a very successful show from last season, and we're really excited to be doing these 3 plays. Then after that, we're doing the Risk Is This Festival, and through a generous grant from the Kenneth Rainin Foundation, we're able to expand Risk Is This to be the biggest Risk Is This festival we've done, which is it's our experimental new play festival.
Okay.
And what we usually do is we do stage readings of 3 brand new experimental new plays, but this year we're going to do 2 new plays, and then we're going to do 3 workshops of plays that we commission, and we're going to start working on them at the beginning of the year and be working on them straight through. So we'll actually be creating 3 new plays, which we're really excited about.
You love what you do, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
This is like a relentless pace.
It's true. It's true.
It's like a drug.
You're absolutely right.
Obviously, a great way to end off your 10th year.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Rob, for spending with us here at Cutting Ball Theater. If people are interested in finding out more, where do they go?
They go to www.cuttingball.com, and Krapp's Last Tape runs now to July 3rd, Thursdays through Sundays.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
There will be some blunders. It always starts off with blunders. Rob Melrose, the artistic director of Cutting Ball Theater at Exit. Cutting Ball at Theater at Exit Theater.
In residence at the Exit on Taylor.
Okay. Well, you recently directed let's start over again. Let's do it again. Okay. Krapp's
Last Tape by Samuel Beckett. Yes.
Okay, let's do this again. Hold on.
And in residence at Exit on Taylor instead of Exit Theater.
I have 2 directors here, obviously. Yeah, it always goes bad, this part. Okay.
I like the way you guys tease each other. It's funny.
Yeah.
Good.
Our readership has a short attention span. They're not going to remember a year from now.